Dan Pena is a man of numbers. A review of his YouTube channel and his website makes one thing clear. He equates money with success. He previously claimed he was the $50 billion man, but now claims to be a $1 trillion man due to the equity or value created by those who attended his QLA seminars at Guthrie Castle. Seminars that purport to teach exponential business growth in the shortest amount of time. Seminars that cost approximately £20,000 or over $24,000 at the time of this video. But wait, how does a man who claims he has generated so much money become at risk of bankruptcy over £130,000? Could it be that actually Dan Pena isn't worth the amount of money that he purports? And could John Crestani's intuition be right about Dan Pena? Independent information regarding Dan Pena is hard to find. Even Tom Nash couldn't find much. But by the end of the video, you will be surprised about the things you will learn about the man Dan Pena, $1 trillion man. Guthrie Castle is a historical landmark based in Forfar, Scotland. As beautiful as it looks, when Dan Pena bought the property, it was, in his words, full of dry rot, wet rot and rising damp, and the grounds left completely overgrown. Now, with all this disrepair, why then did Dan Pena spend £700,000 to purchase the castle? Adjusted for inflation, that is the same as Dan buying the castle today for just over £2 million. It is because Dan thought he had secured an agreement that all of these things will be sorted by the seller of the property. Only it did not work out that way. How do we know? Well, in November 1986, judgment in the case of Pena and Ray was set down in the Scottish Court of Sessions. Details of the purchase price of Guthrie Castle was contained in the judgment. But that was not the worst part. Dan Pena lost the case and ultimately had to pay for the repairs to the castle in addition to the £700,000 he spent buying the property. With such expenditure, it is no surprise that Dan Pena would need to seek revenue streams. After all, according to Wikipedia, he only received $3.3 million in 1992 when he sued Great Western Resources. So, Guthrie Castle began hosting two types of events, one of joy, these being weddings, and the other, one of anger, known as the Quantum Leap Advantage QLA seminars. The QLA seminars were started in 1993. Those QLA seminars are expensive training sessions, estimated to be about £20,000. That is a lot of money for what I believe is a course that teaches things widely available on the internet. To make things worse, it is well known that during some of these seminars, Dan Pena will shout out abuse at people, so people are essentially paying for him to abuse them. In fact, he is proud of the fact, such is his reputation, that students at Exeter University protested against him when he attended the campus to present there. But Dan isn't the abusive tyrant he purports to be. Oh no, after all, in 2003, he opened Guthrie Castle for weddings, and it is difficult to tie in the fact that the man who uses the C word so often can be the same man helping couples to have the greatest day in their life. And by help, this isn't income generating help. No, this is a suffer financial loss level of help. Within the UK, all company accounts are publicly available. The amount of information that needs to be published depends on the size of the company, but whatever the size of the company, there is a need to publish profit and loss and the balance sheet. All this information can be found at Companies House website. All you need to know is the name of the company, company number, or the name of a director. By law, all of this information must be public. So let's look at the company records of Guthrie Castle Limited, which has company number 03196-600. Now, before it adopted the name Guthrie Castle Limited in July 2003, the company was known as DSP Seminars Limited. DSP being the initials for the name Daniel Stephen Pena. So we know we're on the right track. The change of company name was just 1 month before Guthrie Castle opened, so we know the costs associated with the renovation were done and dusted by 2003. We can see that Dan Pena is currently a director of Guthrie Castle Limited, in which he is a person with significant control. A person of significant control is someone that holds more than 25% of shares or voting rights in a company, has the right to appoint or remove the majority of the board of directors, or otherwise exercises significant influence or control. A quick look at the terms and conditions page of Dan Pena's website shows clearly that Guthrie Castle Limited owns everything related to QLA. What does this mean? It means that all relevant financial information related to the business of seminars and wedding venues is available through the company's filing records, including the accounts. An analysis of Guthrie Castle Limited's company accounts reveals the financial health of the company in any given year. For example, in 2014, Guthrie Castle Limited lost £1.9 million. At today's value, that loss would have been £2.6 million. Guthrie Castle Limited only remained a going concern through funding by Dan Pena himself and funding by the Guthrie Group. Remember the name Guthrie Group? We'll come back to that later. In that very same year, Guthrie Castle owed over £2.7 million to creditors, and all that money was due within the year. Replicating that analysis from 1996 to 2022, the last year of filed company accounts, we can see the performance of Guthrie Castle Limited. Let's look at a graph produced from the financial results of Guthrie Castle Limited. From 1996 to 2017, Dan Pena's company lost a total of £17.09 million over a period of 21 years, as evidenced by the company's published accounts. Perhaps it does make sense that a loss of £130,000 in 2017 from the fraud of one of his employees could have led the company being wound up. For fair disclosure, Guthrie Castle has been turning a profit more recently, registering a profit of approximately £8.4 million in 2022. However, over a period of 26 years, Dan Pena's company has returned just £7.2 million to him. The company only became profitable after Guthrie Castle stopped being a wedding venue, despite many people spending up to £19,000 for its use. So Dan Pena's profit does not come from doing business, but rather teaching business. Imagine all those losses over those years were just for the benefit of the brides-to-be and the business people-to-be. You will recall that earlier that Guthrie Castle remained an ongoing concern thanks to Dan Pena and the Guthrie Group. The Guthrie Group is an interesting entity. Its WordPress website, though, gives the appearance that it's no longer a going concern. You can see that there are a number of broken links, outdated text such as Dan Pena referring to just $50 billion of equity, and reference to people who are no longer registered with the UK's legal regulator. Not a great impression for the Guthrie Group, a supposedly multi-million-dollar company in the USA. Of course, the contact telephone number for the Guthrie Group is not an American number, it is a UK number. The same UK number that is registered on wedding venue sites for Guthrie Castle. So despite being a man of numbers, Dan Pena would not like the numbers that fall out of the publicly available records. As a man who purports to drive the wealth of his students, he failed to drive his own wealth for a significant period of time. Sure, his company is now generating a profit of over £8 million in the last audited financial year. But would you spend 26 years of your life investing £17 million just for the return of an investment of £7.2 million? Remember, Dan's website states that his course focuses on exponential business growth in the shortest amount of time. By looking at Dan Pena's history and his experience as a teacher, I'm reminded of a saying, those who can, do. Those who can't, teach. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe.